Happy Friday, everyone. This is Hang Out with Penny, episode 48. And tonight I have a different type of version of the Hang Out with Penny show because tonight is very special. And what I want to do tonight is share with you my experience or how I came across meeting Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and how he inspired.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Again.
This is Hang Out with Penny, episode 48.
All right, guess I did that again. I did that last week too. I'm trying to be able to get everything in one place so I can get the comments and everything at once. But anyway, you're watching Hang Out with Penny, episode 48. The reason why I began these hangouts is because I wanted to really inspire you and uplift you and empower you to begin changing the way you look at things. Because when you do, the things you look at change. Those words were very powerful for me in my life. They changed my life profoundly. And those words came from Dr. Wayne Dyer. So I'm just sharing my story about my experience with Dr. Dyer. So it's a little different show. So just to let you know that that's what I'm doing tonight. And before we do that, I just want to send a toast out to all my loyal viewers and supporters. And I really do appreciate that you continue to be a part of my life and be a part of my Fridays, and then allow me to come into your mornings on Saturday so you can watch the recordings or throughout the week. So that means a lot to me. That means to me that some of the work that Dr. Wayne Dyer has shared with the world, that I'm doing a little bit of it. I'm learning a little bit each day, and you're proof of it. So thank you, and I cheers you. Thank you. So for the self-help and spiritual world, last weekend, there was a deep sadness. Dr. Wayne Dyer passed away at the age of 75. This man was listed on, there was a list of 100 spiritual influential people, and he was number 3. The third most spiritually influential person in the world, and that was him. But he had such he was so humble that he really didn't portray himself as that. He just really wanted to get his message out, to share with the world that really, all there really is love. I'm going to share a couple of stories about that with you. But first I want to share something with you. So one moment. There we go. This is from Dr. Wayne Dyer. He began to paint, I believe, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago or something like that. And it says, look in the mirror at least once every day and give thanks for the heart that continues to beat and the invisible force on which those heartbeats depend. So look in the mirror at least once every day and give thanks for the heart that continues to beat and the invisible force on which those heartbeats depend. Wow. Wow. He had such a powerful way of taking something so complicated and simplifying it so we could understand it on a depth that has never been explained before quite in this way. So how did I become part of this tribute to Dr. Wayne Dyer? Well, several years ago, I'm going to say in 2003, I don't know, it's several years ago. I was laying on the Chesterfield feeling really sorry for myself because my life was a mess. I was now going through divorce. I was in a job that I didn't like. I just was unhappy. I was so unhappy, and I just wanted to blame everybody else but myself. But my unhappiness and my low self-esteem and my low confidence level was really beginning to show out outwardly, because it's all about vibration, and we have vibrations that we emit out, and my vibration was getting really low, and it was really beginning to show. And my dear friend, she come to visit, and she just said, "What happened to you?" Oh gosh, I knew I needed to change. I didn't know how, but I asked. I just said, like, help me find a way to begin to change my life for the better. So like I said, I'm on the couch, I'm feeling sorry for myself, and I believe it was a Sunday afternoon, and the TV was on, and I'm flipping through, and this voice, I hear this voice. I'm thinking, who is this guy? So I really became just, this voice just took over me, and I was listening to him, and I thought, this guy is going to be important in my life. I don't know who he is, and I'm talking to the TV. I don't know who you are. I don't know what your name is. I don't know where you live, but I do know that I am going to meet you someday. I'm going to meet you someday. And I believe it was this book, was one of my first books, The Power of Intention, that I bought, and I read it, and I started following the things, and it was so incredible to think that, wow, I've been really screwing up my own life. So much so by the way I've been thinking, the way I've been feeling. And I just want to read, I'm going to be reading a lot here. I just want to read something. Living the Wisdom of the Tao, The Complete Tao Te Ching and Affirmations by Dr. Wayne Dyer. So in the introduction to this book, I'm just going to read the last paragraph, and it says, the Tao Te Ching offers you divine guidance on virtually every area of human existence. It is a new way of thinking in a world that needs to be recaptured, that needs to recapture its ancient teachings. Work with the verses and affirmations regularly, and you will come to know the truth behind the ancient Tao observation. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Those words have really been a pivotal point in my life for me to change the way I looked at things. And when I could change, I needed to look at myself. I needed to look at what I was doing. I really needed to look at what my inner feelings were portraying out there. So I was only reflecting back to me what was going on inside. I needed to be the one to change. I remember, oh boy. So I'm starting on my journey of the self-help and self-development. And there was a time when Dr. Wayne Dyer, well, I mean, he still had it up until last week, where Hay House, you could call in and speak with them. So I thought, I'm going to try it. I was off from work, and I got through. So that in itself is amazing, because thousands and thousands of people are trying to get through. I get through. So he asked me my name, it's Penny. So he proceeded to say, oh, I dated a girl named Penny. He was just like so friendly. We were just having a conversation, really. It's actually in the archives on Hay House, so you can probably go find it. And so it came time for my question. And I said, how do I deal with the toxic negative relationships at work? And I thought I was going to get a really good answer. Well, I did, but it wasn't what I was expecting. He said to me, send them love. I'm like waiting for more. I'm like, sending them love. How can I send them love? This was like crazy. The whole place, I'm like, send them love. So I got off the phone. I was like, no, that's wrong. I just wanted him to like, yeah, you. I wanted him to tell me that what I was feeling was right. I wanted to be right. But I needed to be set right. That's what I needed to be. And he set me on the path that everything, when you send love, everything will change in your life. Because God is love. God is love. And when we come from that place of love, then our whole lives can start to create more love in our lives, including relationships, including our careers, including everything. And so that was that. And so then how I got to meet him was my friend knew I was like following Wayne Dyer, and so she called me one day and she said, the I Can Do conference is coming to Toronto. You want to go? Wayne Dyer's going to be there, of course. I said yes. So away we go. And my ego, my ego was still being a big part of me, because it's like, I knew I was going to meet him and I'm going to be in first row. Well, I actually didn't think about first row, but I wanted to be like close. And I did get in the front row, second row, but the first row was reserved. Nobody sat in it. But just watching him and listening to him, I had a shift on how I was feeling. The ego kind of subsided. It's like, this man is just so powerful. And later that night, when my friend and I went back to our room, she says to me, did you see the aura? Did you see the white aura around Wayne? I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I thought it was just me. So that was an incredible experience. So the next day, I got my book signed. I'm going to show you my book. He signed my book. That's his signature on my book. And this book here, Inspirations, The Ultimate Calling. The Ultimate Calling. So the next day I heard someone say, oh, there's Wayne Dyer's getting pictures. He's taking pictures out in the hallway. I didn't have a camera. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going out there anyway. So I went out there and I just kind of went through the crowd. There was lots and lots and lots of people. It was at the conference center in Toronto, lots of people. I ended up just getting right behind this one person that she was just right in front of Dr. Dyer. And I said to her, are you waiting to get your picture taken? She says, oh, no, she says, so she moved away. And now I'm like 3 feet away from Dr. Dyer. And his assistant said, okay, that's it. We need to go now. Dr. Dyer's got to go do yoga. And I just said, I don't even know why I did it, but I just stepped forward and I just said, Dr. Dyer, I don't have a camera, but I would really like a hug. And he hugged me and I thanked him. I thanked him for changing my life, but I also thanked him for his change he's making in the world. And I just felt blessed and honored that I had this opportunity. And that's funny because it's all about the law of attraction, right? When I started changing my vibrations around, I started attracting things into my life more in alignment to what I wanted. So I wanted to be more in the energy of Dr. Wayne Dyer. And you can see I have his books. I have this book. I have this book. I have this book. But I love that he was real. He was real, and he shared his real stories about things that happened in his life, like when he quit drinking. He shares these stories publicly. He drank every day. He would have a couple of beers every day. And he went into the restaurant one day, and for some reason, this restaurant didn't serve liquor that day. And so, but he ordered 2 beer because he'd always order 2 beer. And they said, sorry, we can't serve you because, we can't serve alcohol tonight. He had 5 children at the time. And he got all the children and his wife up from the table, and they left because he couldn't have a beer. That night, even though his wife tried to talk to him, his ego was in the way because he was right. That night, he woke up in the morning. It was like there was a breeze going on. He never had another drink. He never had another drink. So, and any time we can have these shifts where our higher self, that higher power, comes in and guides us in the right direction. We just need to be open to it. And Dr. Wayne Dyer, I love how he would say that for 9 months, we're in the womb and everything's taken care of. Everything's taken care of. It's not me as a mom saying, okay, now it's time to develop your fingers. Now it's time to no, everything is taken care of. Who does that? It's this divine source. It's God. It's this source that's in every one of us. Touch your heart right now. You're touching God. You're touching the source that I have in me, which is the same that I have in you, or that you have in you. So we are all connected. It's the same that runs the sap in the trees. It's the same thing that allows that robin to lay an egg, those nice blue eggs, like my shirt. We all have this source. But what happens, he explains this so good, is when the baby's born, it's almost like we say, okay, God, we'll take over now. And then we start. And then we start. Either as parents, our own conditioning, our own programming, we start putting those on to our children. Our teachers, their programming, we start putting that onto our children. And then what happens? Many of us grow up just to be average, just to be ordinary. And he's like, we are all extraordinary. We are all extraordinary. Each one of us, we have something extraordinary within us. And we just need to get our egos out of the way and know that we all have the ability to do anything we want in this lifetime. Anything. So when we can come from that place of extraordinary, we are releasing the soul of its limitations. We're conditioned with limits. You can't do this. You're too old for that. No one in our family's ever done that. Oh, you didn't go to college. You can't do this. You can't do that. We are conditioned and we have limits, which leaves us average, ordinary. We have an ability within us to become extraordinary. If you believe. Whatever follows your I am is what you're going to. So when he talks about the law of attraction, he said, you don't get what you want. You get what you are. So if you are love, you will get love. I love how he says, love, period. So I just love Dr. Wayne Dyer, and I'm blessed and honored that I had the chance to meet him. But I'm going to say, my ego got in the way. Not necessarily my ego, my fear. My fear got in the way because I thought, I guess it was both, my ego and my fear, because I thought, I'm going to contact Dr. Dyer and see if he would be on my Hangout show. And then it was like, oh, that would be just great. So my ego would really start kicking in, right? But then my fear kicked in. It's like, really? You can't do that. I'm like, that's Dr. Dyer. Really? You're just going to like call him up or send him a letter and ask him to be a guest on your Hangout show? Like, really think about it. So I started letting my fears get in the way, and I never did. I never did that. Today, I believe that he would have done it. I believe he would have done it. So today, he is with me. He is with us on the Hang Out with Penny show. But as my tribute to Wayne, Dr. Dyer, he is an incredible man, and he just wanted us to really know that we can be extraordinary. And I want to read something from his. So he has his book here, but he also has a couple of things that went along with that book. He has your Ultimate Calling deck. So I'm going to read a card for us, and then I'm going to pretty much wrap up the show. I just wanted to do this. So, oh, here, this is it. Here's the card. Act on your inspiration. Act on your inspiration. Well, look at that, the butterflies. Regardless of how absurd your inner callings might seem, they are authentically yours. They don't have to make sense to anyone else. The willingness to listen and act on your inspiration, independent of the opinions of others, is imperative. Act on your inspiration. I love the one time he was talking and someone said, "Oh, you're the father of motivation." And he said, "I'm the father of 8. That's about all the fathering I can do right now." So he didn't even consider himself, like, he just, and he has a different definition for motivation. Sometimes it doesn't matter how motivating we can be, to like how motivating our speeches or our talks can be to somebody. If they don't have that in them, it doesn't really motivate them to take action. But when there's inspiration, because when you're inspired, you're in spirit. So that means it's on the inside. It's on the inside. And when that starts to birth, then you become inspired. And inspiring things can just start to catapult you forward more than a motivation. So I just love when he talks about that. And so I'm going to end tonight's show by reading one more thing. Dr. Dyer, he'd always talk about our ego, and he would talk about his ego too. And this is a message I want to give you tonight too, is because I've been doing this for a few years. He's been doing this for over 40 years, and it's all about, he says, we're spiritual beings having a human being experience. It's not the other way around. So as human beings, we will have human experiences. And so our ego is part of that. And many times our ego starts getting in the way. And I love how he says, it's like edging God out. Our ego is edging God out. And I had to think about that for a little while. Like, I kind of thought I got it, but my interpretation is really, if you're putting something out, it had to be in. So it's like, God is inside of me. God is inside. So when we can remember that, it's like, okay, am I thinking from my ego now? Am I like pushing God out right now, out into this? Am I taking outer experiences, and am I going to follow that? Or am I going to go inward and go with the God that's beating my heart, the God that's taking my breath in and out, that I don't have any control over. It's all taken care of for me. So that's one thing. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about this tonight. And so I'm going to end with, I'm going to read an inspiration. He's got a book, another one, Your Ultimate Calling, 365 Ways to Bring Inspiration into Your Daily Life. This is also based on his book, Inspiration, Your Ultimate Calling. So I'm just going to scan through. Oh, and here we go. Number 210. Affirm that whatever brings passion, enthusiasm, and inspiration to you is on its way. Say it often. It is on its way. It will arrive on time, and it will arrive in greater amounts than I imagined. Thank you, Dr. Wayne Dyer. Here's a quote from Dr. Wayne Dyer that I'm going to share with you. This one is so important. How people treat you is their karma, and how you react is yours. How people treat you is their karma. How you react is yours. I love that, and I love how one time he explained, because many times through teachings, I've learned if you attract something, so if you come across somebody that's angry, it's like, oh, there must be something in you that's causing that. So what is it in you that's causing that? And I love how Dr. Dyer said, so he came across someone that was really angry at him, and he started thinking, well, what do I need to learn from this? And more, it was about how far you've come. How far you've come, because what that person was going through didn't have anything to do with him. He could have been just having a bad day. So it's your reaction. It was his reaction. So his reaction was, I'm just going to send them love. But it had nothing to do with me. It was their own thing. And so it just made it easy for me to be able to get past that, because I'd be like, why am I attracting this in my life? And I'm trying to figure it all out. Like, what am I thinking? When I could have a really good day, it's like, you know what? It's just their stuff. It's somebody else having a bad day. That's all it is. So as we grow, and yeah, so Dr. Dyer, lots of times, so I told you the story about that. Another time his daughter, he was making waffles for his children in the morning, and they were getting ready to get to school, and he had his work to do, and he's like, come on, hurry up. And his one daughter said, what would all the people think about you now, Mr. Inspiration? And it's like, but more or less, it's like, you know what? We are human, and we will all experience it. And he was free to share that, you know, he too would have his moments, but he would just admit it and carry on. And this man was just loved by so many. And Tony Robbins asked him, how do you want to be remembered? And his answer was, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he's remembered. He'll be remembered. The biggest thing we can do is what we've learned from him is share it and pass it on. Come from love and know that there's something greater at work with all of us in our lives. And we have the choice to make. We have the choice to say, I am not worthy, or I am worthy. So choose your I ams. Choose whatever comes after your I am. Because that's what you're going to attract into your life. So he says, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So today, what are you? I'm going to end by sharing his picture. Goodbye, everybody. Your ultimate calling was last weekend. Thank you, Dr. Wayne Dyer. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.